ToyLeet assembly. Step up and see flash, it's the ToyLeet crew. We're the kings of the game, yeah, the chosen few. From the shadows we rise with the rarest finds. Collect them, respect them, we're one of a kind. ToyLeet, reign in the streets, elite with defeats in this collectible feast. ToyLeet, down in the street, with the heart of the beat, where all playmates meet. Check our stacks, our collection supreme. Limited editions, every collector's dream. We're the myths, we're the legends, with every drop. Taking over the block, we never stop. In the alleys where the echoes play. ToyLeet's the name, hear what we say. Rising, thriving, always vibing. In our realm, we're always diving. ToyLeet, reign in the street, the live ToyLeet, setting the pace. With a snap of the case and a click of the lock, ToyLeet's on top and we're ready to rock. Collecting more than just toys, we're up. We're up. We're up. Feast ToyLeet, now in the street, when the heart of the beat, where all playmates meet. We're the tree, we're the ToyLeet, watch the flow, cause in this zone, we never admit defeat. Come for the thrill, stay for the chase. ToyLeet's in the place, set in the pace.
Hey, what's up, man? How's it going?
Welcome to allergy season in Western New York, brother.
Yeah, I'm getting it in Eastern New York, so I totally understand that.
Aren't you
I guess it's better than the snow, though. What was that?
I said, aren't you Central New York? Or you?
We're upstate New York, as I refer to it.
Right. Yeah, that's where you guys are.
I feel like it's Eastern New York, though. Like maybe I'm wrong.
Yeah, I'll take the allergies in this nice warm weather we've been having over the snow for sure.
Oh, absolutely, man. Absolutely. Oh, this son of a gun.
Yep, already starting this shit.
Oh,
so how you doing, brother?
Yeah, I'm good, man. I'm good.
I did not get anything this week. Did you get anything?
No, man. I've been too busy to get anything. I know there's a bunch of stuff out there on clearance and stuff, and I'm assuming I'm going to be getting some Wave 2 stuff from Savage here shortly based on one of their most recent updates, which we'll talk about in the weekly news a little later. But, you know, a buddy of mine, he goes out shopping all the time, sends me pictures. I guess there's a bunch of McFarlane stuff on clearance right now. Some of the Batman stuff, you know, Joker or Riddler, I don't know, some of those characters, Penguin, yeah. I don't know. And then, you know, it's got a bath in it and whatever. And then he sent me a picture of, I think it's like a He-Man and like a little lion. It's not like the normal one. I don't know which character it is. I got the text here from him. I think it's Prince or something like that. And,
it's Prince Adam and
yep. And Cringer?
Cringer, yeah.
Yeah, so he sent me that, and he's like, oh, I got this for $8 at Target or whatever. Yeah. I'm like, darn, $8, that's good. Like, I keep seeing it, and I know it's not to scale, and I keep going, man, I want to buy it, but I only want to buy it because of the Cringer character, and because I feel like it looks like you can swap his head, and I'm thinking I could probably 3D print a cool head to put on there that's like cooler than that, and then paint it. But then I know it'll just sit in a box in a drawer and somewhere, and I'll never get around to it. And then Random will just be picking on me for never building my diorama. So I keep passing on that. So I don't have any gets. And I told him, I said,
that
like,
place
I'm like, no.
That place I was at last week there that I sent you pictures from of the wrestlers. They had a ton of those He-Man and Cringers or Prince Adam and Cringer figures.
Yeah, it's crazy. I mean, there's a lot of stuff out there on clearance right now, but you know, my thing is, and I told my buddy B that you know I didn't need anything right now, and the reason I didn't need anything is because a lot of my stuff's already been ordered from Kickstarter. Yeah. It's my Brutal Realm, it's my AWalk series stuff, it's Savage Crucible stuff. I mean, there's probably something else that I'm not even thinking of that I'm pre-ordered from that stuff. I
have the whole book 2 and all that stuff from Monster Force on pre-order. Yep. I'm like, they were like, oh, we're going to be delayed because of the tariffs. I was like, not upset about that at all. Not that I can't afford it, but
Yeah.
it's like, I don't, I can push that down the road a little bit. I'm good. That's all right. I'm okay with that.
Exactly. Exactly. That's the way I'm looking at it. Is like
Yeah.
me, I've already paid out all my stuff. So I'm like, you know what? Like at this point right now, I just want to shore up everything on my end and I'm good for now.
Punk
Just
says
been
you're
busy
talking
with
in
Heck
slow
the Stack.
motion.
Am I?
I don't know. It doesn't sound like you're talking in slow motion to me.
Anybody else experiencing that besides
It's probably
our
Punk.
our favorite like whiner?
Yeah. You want to run through the chat?
Yeah, man. Let's hit up the chat real quick. See who's popped in.
Thor's here saying he loves the comedic arc. Let me start that all over. Thor's here. Love the comedic artwork. It's the way some of us collectors act like. Absolutely. And Tiffany from the Vaz Zone's here with us. Hi, Tiffany. How are you today? And we got Menhoza here with us.
What's up, Menhoza?
No one stopping by, making this Toy Tube official, saying hello to you and myself in the chat. And Fat Red Food thinking he's funny, calling us the ToyLeet toilets. I have a comment to make in honor of Fat Red Food. I got a sub on our channel the other day. We got a sub, and his comment when he subbed to our last live show was subbed just because of the intro to your live show, because he loved the song.
I did see somebody comment on that. Yeah. Thanks for the support.
Mr. Wonderful, some guy named Mr. Wonderful's here.
He's a class act, that's all I know.
Fat Red saying hello to me. Hi, Fat Red. How you doing, brother? And the beautiful Cobweb Collectors here saying, sup, party peoples? And then this guy.
Oh, hold on. This guy.
Here we go. Money talk.
Here comes the money. Money.
What's up? And where are my stands at?
You have them, Punk. Stop.
Golf shoes on. You know where they are.
Hold on. I was gonna say, I didn't want to embarrass you, Punk, but you're already standing on them and you still can't see the monitor. So sit back down, kid. No, with all seriousness, I was talking to Ed before we went live. Just some final tweak to some stuff before I send them out. So I'll get those sent out to you shortly, Punk. My goal is to ship out everything by tomorrow morning, midday. So you'll get information tomorrow. I'll text you directly so you have an update. And for those that have purchased that are following, all final shipments in the last week will be out tomorrow. So thank you guys for your support. I've been hesitant on some of the updates because I just wanted to work through some things. I mean, better to be transparent and talk to it now, right? I haven't been promoting it heavily outside of the initial launch, kind of treating the first week as a soft launch to let me get my wheels under me. I know people are laughing, thinking, wheels, you've had 2 freaking years. Yeah, I have. But you can't, you want to make sure you do it right. I didn't want something to come out as I showed Ed something. There was some warping on a corner. I even showed this to Kenzo on like Saturday or Sunday. I sent him a message and screenshots or some photos of some warping on the product and told him, hey, I'm getting these out shortly. I just want to make some tweaks to make sure that the warping is resolved. Some of the prints were coming out with warping. I've got those. It was just something to do with not having a drainage line on them. But I think I got that all resolved now, so we should be good to go. And I'll get the rest of those out tomorrow.
All right. And the Brick something's here. Too many toys. Psych, give me. And Travis says,
I saw.
Punk says, yeah,
go ahead.
The stream isn't slow. You just are. Now, I'm not sure if he's talking about you're slow on the stream or if you're just slow in general, because he's kind of mean like
That's
that.
possible. Yeah. He probably means my shipping, what's up, right?
Brother?
Tomorrow. What's up, Plastic? I saw Brick on a stream on Sunday. I don't know if you got a chance to catch the which one is it? The Saturday morning streamer there.
It's in my watch list, but I haven't had time.
Yeah, they were talking AWOCs again, so that was fun.
I got that show and Brick's weekly news I got to get caught up on still, but haven't had time this week yet. Hey, Matthew Matson's here. Nerds.
What's up, Matthew?
No one likes the AI song. At least tonight it's the short version. Oh, when you can afford to give us a band to record the song live, we'll do that. Okay, Matthew? In the meantime, after this show's over, go over to Pop Blender's channel and check Matthew Matson's and Pop Blender's evening blend out. See that? I'm nice, Matthew. I promote your show just because I pick on you about your karate.
And I jump over to that show normally every week, but it's not till like when this show wraps up.
Yeah.
And no, Ed, you're not slow. You're just my partner.
Yeah.
And you're my best friend, Punk. All the love. All the love. And with friends like you, who needs enemies?
And Matthew Matson's laughing about that and saying thank you. You're welcome, brother. Good show. Go over there and check it out when we're done here. And that's it for the chat, brother.
Awesome, dude. So I don't have a ToyLeet because I've not had the chance to open anything up and put it in the box and all that fun, or take it out of the box. You can see it's hard to see. I'm gonna go on full screen for a second.
Go for it.
But you guys will appreciate a little bit further. Boom! You'll see that I'm starting to get my boxes, my display stands in there. You can see some figures actually standing up in there. Once it looks better, I will go ahead and get folks a more appropriate visual of that. Look for some videos popping up online over the next couple of days for sure. But other than that, you didn't have a ToyLeet this week, did you?
No, I don't have a ToyLeet either.
Okay.
It's going to be a slow couple of months for pickups until.
I feel like the next thing will be likely some Savage stuff that comes through based on where I think things are at right now.
Real quick, let's say hi to Allison Troy, who just jumped in. Greetings, Allison.
Hey, Allison.
Just our normal intro, That's all.
That's not AI. That's Travis singing from his heart.
Right. Travis with his
one-man
band.
Exactly.
Got
awesome.
his son on backup vocals.
So I think we're gonna jump right on in, man.
Yeah, let's jump right on.
Jump right on in. We'll talk about what we do here. So before we go ahead and share, right? Oh, there it is. What we do here is we talk about independent toys, toy adjacent. We have our regular talking points. We have toilet when we remember to, or when we actually receive anything and we want to talk about. We have our Shoutout From the Crick, which is a throwback to Ed and his son doing the show before I joined, and we shout somebody out that's doing something cool. I'll let Ed talk about that in a moment. But every week we have a topic, right? And as you can see here, we're talking WWE Ultimate. We save this for the end after a long 3, 4, 5. No, that's Monday night's show with Punk. This week, and on our shows, we spend about 30 minutes or so getting to it, if that. And we spend, the remaining portion of the show talking about our main topic. This week is WWE Ultimates We Need Now. Our boys over at Helidope talked about WWE figures that we needed from after WrestleMania. They talked really just as a play to talk about wrestling, which I was extremely happy with. And then they plugged us. This is going to be focusing on specifically the WWE figures that we want in ultimate form, right? And what that is a certain type of it's the tier. It's their most prestigious tier. It's the top tier that our boys over at Mattel do, and they do a great job with it. It's actually it's replaced all my elite and basic figures over the years. So I collect those, and we'll be going into my top 10 WWE Ultimates that we need now, and we'll talk about what those items are. And I've actually I've got a bunch of we'll get there. You'll see it.
I got to just make a comment that I love the hairstyle that you have in this picture. Very punk rock.
Yeah, hey, I was trying to be cool like Punk, so that's what I did.
And Tony's Figs is here. What's up, Tony?
Awesome. And then with that said, Ed, I'm going to throw it over to you with our Shoutout From the Crick, man.
The creek where the water flows, we're shouting out to those who know. Spreading joy, sharing love, ToyLeet fam, you rise above. Shout out from the creek, you're the best. Hype up the heroes who've passed the test. Community stars shining bright, lifting each other, it feels so right.
All right. So this week's Shout Out From the Crick goes to the man, Menhel. Mendoza, as Punk likes to call him. Mendoza is doing some really cool photography on his Instagram channel and some really cool custom type figures. You can see one in his avatar picture there too. He did. That's a really cool customs that he's been doing and taking some great pictures. So he's also an Operation Monster Force fan too, which I appreciate. So if you haven't followed Mendoza on Instagram yet, go on over there and give him a follow, because you'll not be disappointed in the pictures that he's posting.
Awesome. Yeah, and Mendoza, thank you so much for just doing some cool stuff. You're always in the chat. You're always supporting us. You're supporting others. I see you not just here, but in a number of other chats
everywhere.
also. And yeah, and your photography stuff's good. I know I didn't post your YouTube. Ed shared the Instagram and said that's really where you focus your attention. So if there's something that I'm not doing there, let me know. But definitely check out him over on Instagram and check out his information there. He's doing really cool work.
Yes, absolutely. And he's definitely, like you said, he's always in everybody's chat. I see him Punk on Monday and Thursday, and on here on Tuesday, and he's in Kenzo's on Wednesday, and jumps into the clubhouse. And you are very welcome, my man. You much deserved. So hopefully people go over there and give you a follow.
Absolutely. Yeah, get him up there. He's doing great work. I love the photo or the video thing right there off to the right in the picture because he's showing off a little combination of some Monster Force and Joe's together, showing how well they adapt to one another.
Yeah.
And he's got, I think, one of the 100,362 McFarlane Batmans in the left-hand corner of that picture too. So,
you'd have to ask Allison Troy for the exact count of how many Batmans that
exactly
actually put out. But
awesome.
That's all I got, man. Thanks, Mendoza, for sharing. We appreciate it.
Okay. Let me find
and let's go over to Travis at the news desk.
If I'm gonna do this, I'll need my news team at my side.
Good evening, toy lovers, shelf shufflers, inbox hoarders, and out-of-the-box warriors. This is the ToyLeet News Network, your prime source for breaking headlines across the plastic frontier of independent toys. I'm your host, the one, the only, Mr. Wonderful, delivering the hard facts with soft goods and news hotter than a SummerCon exclusive. From aisles, sightings to shipping delays, drama in the diorama world, and first looks that will melt your heart and your wallet. If it's got articulation, we're reporting on it. So buckle up, collectors, because the toy world doesn't sleep, and neither do we. So this week, with the weekly news, we're going to start off with our buddies over at the Armories of Ashmore. These guys had just a couple updates they posted. Some backers are still waiting on some emails, invoices, and such. But they're telling folks to go ahead and check their emails, their spam folders for invoices. They're working quite a bit of overtime trying to get the product out there, make sure folks get this Kickstarter in their hands. Additionally, I know there were some questions in the comments of this post on Instagram where I believe it was alluded to Big Bag Toy Store being the main retail option for folks that may have missed out in the past to get their hands on these. I don't know that that's factually correct still. I haven't checked Big Bad myself, but if there's somebody that has and is aware of that, please do comment in the chat here. Additionally, we got some updates from Creative Beast Studios. Not much in the way of photos of new toys, but definitely toy adjacent with their lore. During one of their latest live streams, Creative Beast Studios previewed pages from Cyberozoic issue number 1, including a fully finished page 1 and some pencils for page 12, which you can see here. Art by the talented Ivan Arvatarivev. Sorry, I murdered that name. I'm sure really, really bad. My apologies, Ivan. But fans are thrilled to see the world taking shape. It definitely blends a level of sci-fi with dinosaurs, some dragons, and prehistoric elements. No release date has yet to be confirmed, but excitement is definitely at a high right now, with requests from multiple people in the chats to continue to see more and get those in their hands sooner than later. Our buddies over at Delta 17. They have a little preview update recently. What could it be? We don't know. That's it. That's the news. Don't really have much. They didn't give us much other than this is some shipments of what they allude to being some Joe Fest 2025 exclusives. Rumor has it, it's still just a rumor and it's under wraps, and you'll have to wait to find out what it is. But it definitely stirred some speculation within the chats about what it might be, and if they will announce it before the convention or if it will be an at convention you'll reveal. I'm not confident on what the answer to that is, as my insiders have not shared that with me. Brief update from our buddies over at the Four Horsemen. There is some event happening this weekend. Brick something may know a little about this. It's a West Coast Mythic meetup. It's I think the third annual event, May 3rd, over at Galaxy Game Cafe in Citrus Heights, California. I believe there's a number of individuals that are hosting that and taking part in it. I believe there's some street team event stuff there. I believe some Spiro Toys folks might be there, in the sense of Brick and some toys that he'll be having in hand for sale, possibly, based on what I saw on the show the other day. For full details and exhibitor information, though, you can go to at West Coast Mythics on Instagram and find out more information. And then there was a little teaser, I think yesterday or today, from Four Horsemen, where they posted a photo of the Four Horsemen studio folks with Matt and Mark from O'Neill Design, kind of chatting about their love of toys and creativity, but talking about that Infinite Legion stuff that we, I think, heard just briefly about back at G-Con and the Legions Con back in November. So the chat was buzzing, some excitement amongst what this could entail. I don't have much more at this time, but as more information comes, we'll be sure to share. Some further updates on a Kickstarter that is near and dear to me, as it is related to pro wrestling. It's a lucha style comic with some action figure toy line connection. This will be the folks from this group will be out at Ontario Collectors Con coming up. I believe that's this weekend, or it might not be this week. It might be coming up shortly. I know there's a May 3rd event at Toying Around, so I think the Collectors Con may be in the near future. But the folks over at El Dragon will actually be on the stream with us in just 2 weeks, on the 13th of May, chatting with us about the upcoming Kickstarter that they plan for later this year. We will have Danny Green, Mega J Retro. At least those two will be joining us for that show, but they have some upcoming cons where they'll be showing off some of their planned content. Quick updates from the Patriot Force guys. This one I thought was cool. Ed, you'll see here. They have some side-by-side comparisons of the Patriot Force Belgian Malinus versus some Joe classified junkyard and timber, kind of highlighting what that figure looks like in comparison to some of the mass-produced dogs that have been made by Hasbro. This is a 3D prototype, but a sculpt, but has quite a bit of realism. You'll see some head variants there. One with the protective, can't think of the name of it, but the thing covering its mouth, and then you'll also see the one with the growling face. So these are looking cool as part of that upcoming Kickstarter, which I believe is May 30th.
Muzzle. That's the word you're looking for.
Thank you. Muzzle. I couldn't think of the word. Thank you, Ed. The muzzle. Thank you. So keep your eye out for that. We'll be keeping tabs on that. Savage Crucible provided a couple updates. The first one is tied to this. Was on a stream last week, I believe on Wednesday. I believe it is using their writing, and it's kind of a code, and they have that the token that kind of you can use to convert this. And I believe what I saw online was it stands for elusive as the wind, shapeshifters defy foresight. Their forms and souls shift like shadows at dusk. A lot of the chat and talk around this was in context of Savage Crucible. It could be tied to like the Therians, possible new faction, most likely some sort of shapeshifters, things like that. New to me, but very excited to see what that entails, as they were previewing also some images from the upcoming graphic novel that will be released shortly. They also did, as I alluded to earlier, they did make an announcement today that tomorrow they will have at 9 p.m. Eastern on the Savage Crucible YouTube channel. They'll be going through an unboxing of some of the Wave 2 figures so folks can see firsthand the production, the nearly final production versions that folks will be getting in hands eventually. So excited for that. I'll definitely be tuning in to see what they're doing over there, as I'm very excited to get my Wave 2 for Savage Crucible. And then Valaverse doing what Valaverse things does, which is previewing, teasing, and showing off some new things, and also giving kind of an insider's look into kind of how things go through the development process. And they give you the behind the scenes here, from a 3D model to a wax model to the FS shot, right? So they go ahead and they provided that, showing you kind of how those molds come together before they actually get put to the steel molds, and also gave you a little preview into some upcoming attachments or vests that they may be providing in the future. So that was kind of cool. But again, no confirmation here, much more of just a teaser. And with that, that's the news. Signing out, Mr. Wonderful.
That's going to do it for all of us here at Channel 4 News. You stay classy.
All right.
Any questions or comments from folks other than Keeper and Brick giving me a hard time about not knowing the word muzzle?
Brick said that he just got his invoice for his Armies of Ashmore, so they should be on the way. And the beautiful Cobweb says that he just got his very first AWOC today in the mail.
Dude, your first?
I can't believe it's his first.
Dude has been streaming with us and around us for
right,
better part of 2 years at least, right? And that's the first AWOC? Man, which one did you get, Cobb? I am curious.
And Matthew Matson says that dog will look like a Marauder's Gunrunner's dog. I think what he meant to say is that dog looks like a Marauder's Gunrunner's dog. I'm not sure what that language is, but that's what he said.
He probably didn't have AI autocorrect him, and that's what happened.
And Emerald Knight John here is here with us. What's up, John? Thanks for stopping by.
Hey, brother.
Yeah, Roll Keeper showing
Hey,
up.
a long time.
Roll Keeper. And we got the Northern Nomad. Sup, suckers?
I don't even know where the audio is for that one.
Toy Mercs. What's up, Toy Mercs? I'm guessing this is Dead Man.
Oh, hey. Hey, Toy Mercs.
Hey, Matthew, damn keyboard. He probably dropped his phone. That's probably why he typed it like that. Anyway, that's the chat, brother.
Awesome. Good deal. So I guess we're going to jump right into it. And as I said, we got the WWE Ultimates we need now. This is my personal opinion. Ed, feel free to chime in as we go through these. You may or may not know some of these. I do want to kind of cover, before we dive into the list, I want to break down what kind of makes a figure ultimate worthy. It's not just the articulation, because while the articulation on the Ultimates is slightly different in the ab crunch space, and they do have the drop down hips that are not in, or at least were not in the Elites, and they do make for easier swappable arm joints even to the shoulder socket. So some of them pop out at the shoulder socket, some of them pop out at the arm, like prior to the socket in the shoulder, and they make a number of different easily removable pieces. Plus they come with soft goods. It all ties in, right? It's the full package. The entrance gear, it's the soft goods, it's the many different hands that let you hit specific poses. Sometimes it's some additional accessories. There is a Shawn Michaels one that they did through Mattel directly, which came with the zip line for them, which I think I may have showed here previously. But it's a combination of many things, also tying into kind of like specific points in time, and they really go above and beyond, in my opinion, for these.
They really nail like specific costumes for either different events or different story arcs, like that they a wrestler might have worn for a certain period of time.
Exactly. For instance, you have, I'm going to look back behind me, like I recently got a Dominic Mysterio one, and that was from WrestleMania 40 against, or maybe WrestleMania 39. I always get confused. But it was either last year or the year before against his dad. And they came out with both the father and the son outfits, and they're really cool. And it's like spot on detail. And one of the extra accessories was like a head where he was wearing a mask. So it gives you a ton of opportunity to do different scenes. I would actually suggest if you're looking for the Ultimates and you want to see some really cool scenes, you just pulled his name up, Emerald Knight Studios, John there. He just heavily got into the Mattel Ultimates because there's a side chat with him, myself, that Bret Hart fan, Ken, and Realm of Toys where we talk wrestling and figs and stuff. And both Realm of Toys and Emerald Knight keep posting pictures in there, which are just amazing. So they do a great job showing like specific moments in time of that, and it looks really cool.
Yeah,
but yeah, the Ultimates
Frankie and
are
John
awesome.
do amazing wrestling photos. Like got the figures flying through the air and capturing specific moments. Real quick before we move on,
go for it.
It was Dead Man, so that's what I
Awesome.
figured. Brick says he has a news question for you. Have you noticed or followed the Star Wars Kickstarter for the Chululu Deep One? Been following those figures, but had no idea they were going to Kickstarter. Feels odd. I don't know about that one.
Send that over to me, Brick, on Instagram. I want to take a look. I don't know that I've seen that one. If you don't mind, I'd be curious taking a look at it.
And I forgot I was going to add something to the news before we move on. Delta 17 said they are going to do a video highlighting the Joe Fest exclusive, I think at the end of May, I believe.
Okay, cool. So we'll know before the event.
Yeah, we'll know before the show. And it is definitely a cool looking figure. That's all I'll say.
Oh, so you have more intel than I do. And that's why I do the news, because I don't know shit.
Right. Right place, right time, brother.
Awesome, man. Awesome. Good deal. So we'll go ahead and we'll jump into the top 10. And starting with number 10, Buff Bagwell, WCW. Buff is the stuff. Bagwell brought a ton of big energy, wild personality, and his figure would need to be matched that, right? So we would need soft goods, vest. We need that big top hat that he rolled out with. We need the big sunglasses. He didn't be loud, obnoxious. It'd have to be Buff. I know this is an interesting one, and I will point out that as we dive deeper into this, I called it WWE Mattel figures that we need Ultimates of now. It's interesting. It's technically WWE, but Buff obviously only had one night in the WWE, and that was it. You can YouTube all his stuff and find out why that all happened and his perspective and angle on it. But he was a great character at the peak of WCW and the NWO, and he broke his neck, so it definitely changed things. But him and Scott Steiner, and the reason I feel this is one that's needed is because Scott Steiner has finally come to terms with WWE over the last few years, and not only do we have an awesome Rick and Scott Steiner Ultimate tag team from the mid 90s, we're on the verge of getting some really cool big Papa Pump Ultimates coming out here in the near future. And it wouldn't be Big Papa Pump and the NWO if you didn't have a little Buff and stuff going on over there too. So I think this would be a really cool Ultimate figure if they came out with it. I think most folks would be truly excited about it. So now, one of the things I decided to do on each of these. Oh, go for it, brother.
Does the Ultimates line include WCW since it was purchased by WWE? Or all just WWE actual figures, wrestlers? I should
say. So actually, yes, Ultimates do go beyond just WWE, because I have the WCW NWO Kevin Nash and Scott Hall. We have NWO Macho Man Madness.
Oh, we got Hogan too, right?
We have Hogan. We also have the Great Muta, who wasn't even in the WWE that I'm aware of. I may be misremembering that, but he was definitely part of WCW at times. But even his figure is much more New Japan associated. So the WWE Ultimates, from what I can tell, is very much it's.
As long as it falls under the WWE umbrella, it's
if they've got the license to it, and they've expanded the license to a lot of what ends up happening. And what we get the opportunity to often is they get the licensing to a Legends deal is what it ends up being, where they may have never stepped foot in a WWE ring before, but with the Hall of Fame constantly evolving every year, and also with folks like Vince McMahon not so directly associated with the WWE, some of those bridges that may have previously been burned have been able to be reestablished, and folks like Triple H and others have been able to bring those legends in under Legends deals, which allows us access to these other figures and the other toys, other items that they come out with. So this definitely could be, so any one of these figures could potentially be made if the right agreement was made. That said, I did go ahead and make note of kind of the likelihood for each one of these 10, and kind of highlighted my perspective based on what I know and what I was able to search on the internet, of this individual performer's kind of current relationship or historical relationship with WWE and the likelihood of them able to get that. One thing I will point out is I'm not aware of Mattel signing contracts with talent that don't have other Legends deals, right? So if they're not connected to the WWE in a contract, Mattel isn't going out and eliciting contracts with talent that may or may not be associated with WWE directly and going ahead and creating.
So they're letting WWE make the connection. And
exactly.
They'll do it. Okay.
Exactly. Yep. Very much so. So that said, Buff Bagwell, I have him on the low likelihood. His relationship with the WWE has been quiet for years, and no Legend deals seems to be in place currently. He did start a YouTube recently. He does do a lot of talking. He's still involved. He did go through the DDP yoga stuff, so there is that connection. The likelihood of him coming over and getting a Legends deal is probably slim just because of how he exited so quickly with the merger back in 2001. But it's the WWE, so I'll never say never. But I will definitely say this is on the lower likelihood. The next figure, number 9, Perry Saturn, another WCW figure. He did have a longer run in the WWE, but I have him flagged here as the WCW Ravens flock. There was a period of time back in the 90s, the NWO, all that stuff was happening. There was a little group that I thought was really cool. Maybe it's because I was into grunge rock and all that punk rock and stuff. But Ravens flock had Perry Saturn. I thought he was really cool. I think it'd be really cool if they came out with one of these where, it had the chain, maybe some weapons, kind of like a screaming face, the flannel hoodie, the jean shorts and whatnot, giving him that look of the Perry Saturn that was in the WCW. He did have a future relationship with WWE. He did have a whole bunch of other things and struggled. He's actually recently been on another YouTube channel that I watch, which is by Maven, former Tough Enough guy, who had him on talking about some stuff that he'd done and some things. He's definitely has that concussion syndrome stuff going on and whatnot. But I think this would be a cool figure. The likelihood, again, very low, no signs of a deal, and he hasn't been on TV in years, and he actually got put out of the WWE for a brief, when he got let go, and he kind of had a downfall because he injured somebody intentionally or unintentionally, and that caused them to kind of retaliate against him to the point where he was walking around with a mop as a character with him. So he really dived off the deep end pretty fast, and I don't foresee, I see them more likely to create the mop Perry Saturn version than we would get one that would be of any substance or value here with the Ravens flock, which I think would be the ultimate for him. Again, very low on the likelihood here. Going into number 8, this is James Mitchell, maybe someone most folks wouldn't necessarily be familiar with. He went by the Sinister Minister, pure charismatic manager. He had red robe, devilish smile. He to me embodies a character that looks like the devil. He had that beard and everything, that look. I think he would be a cool character to bring over. I just think it would be awesome with the devilish alternative head. He would tie in heavily with a lot of those gothic characters from earlier on in the early 2000s when TNA first exploded. Give him some fabric coat, soft goods coat, and give him some of the other accessories you see here. I think it'd be really cool. The likelihood of us getting a Sinister Minister, again, these are passions of mine that I think would be cool, It's probably pretty low because this character existed in TNA. Though, with everything we've seen in the WWE over the last year and a half, I feel like TNA is like developmental for WWE right now. So there is a chance. I think it's slim, but if somehow he made an appearance on NXT, maybe they could work something out where they could use his likeness in a character. I highly doubt he gets an Ultimate, but I think this would be a really cool one. Which ties into the next one, which is Abyss from TNA. It could have a nail bat, some chains, accessories, have a masked or unmasked because he played characters with and without. You could have a bag of tacks or something. You could have some soft good vest for him. They could go Asylum version where they had that in his later time in TNA. He was a monster. Think kind of like Mankind and The Undertaker and Kane kind of all thrust into one. You could even tie him in with Sinister Minister because they had some crossover when they were in TNA together. The likelihood for this character, though, of all of the ones I've listed so far, is much higher because he's actually a backstage road agent for the WWE, and the connection that they have with TNA Wrestling, the fact that he already is employed there, I could see them working something out where, if TNA doesn't necessarily own the Abyss character, I don't know if they do, and Abyss wanted to have his character enshrined in a WWE Ultimate Mattel, they could definitely swing this if they wanted to do a TNA branded kind of run. A character that I think would be cool for sure. One that definitely, from back when I was big into the collecting of WWE figures and the customizing community, a very toxic community that exists because wrestling fans are, in a nutshell, toxic and complain about everything. We often saw a lot of customs of this character done, so I would definitely love to see one that doesn't need to be customized. But again, likelihood is kind of moderate, kind of put it on the middle of the ground there. The next one here, kind of rounding out the top six, the bottom side of the top six here is Christopher Daniels. He's probably a little lesser known to your general, wrestling fans, but he helped build the Ring of Honor Wrestling, TNA's and TNA's foundation. He had some iconic matches with folks like Samoa Joe, Kurt Angle, AJ Styles, folks that a lot of people do know. He had a really cool gothic kind of fallen angel character. You could have him have like a fabric kind of coat with a hood. And, his designs on it, give him the belt maybe from the X division in TNA. Again, those definitely have to tie in with the TNA connection there. You could even do the optional painted face, as he's had a painted face during some of his later stuff. He's very influential in TNA for sure, but his likelihood is very slim as he is now an active member of AEW, even if it's as just like a backstage supporting role. So highly unlikely, but one I would love to have.
I think I figured you out, brother. If it's not a naked
What's
muscle
that?
man in shorts, you like muscle men that dress goth.
I mean, that's got to be what it is, right? I mean, every one of them is like grunge or goth, right? Right? I mean, I think they've had me wrong for all these years, for sure. So yeah, and then going into the top five. Oh man, hold on. Why don't you check in with the chat real quick while I refresh?
Okay. Roadkeeper is saying that he needs a Mania version from WrestleMania 41 of Rhea Ripley in her 41. Everybody wants that figure for sure. My daughter's a huge. And she wants that.
There is a Rhea Ripley exclusive Ultimate you can get through Mattel. I don't know if they still have it, but they did, and it came with the ring. So you can get like the most current WWE ring with a Ultimate Rhea Ripley for about $150 or something like that.
But it's not from WrestleMania 41.
It's not this WrestleMania. I think it might be the previous one, or the one. It might have been 39 or 40. I'd have to double check her gear.
And G.I. Jetman's here. What's up, Jetman? Saying hello to everybody. Doesn't know much about wrestling except for 80s rubber figures, which are cool. The big rubber muscle guys. But he enjoys our streams, so it's awesome to watch. Thank you, Jetman. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
And Brian, Endless Fables, says, I am late.
Brother.
We'll excuse you this time, brother. This time.
Awesome.
And that's it, brother.
Cool. So I'll jump right back in. Top 5 here. Number 5, Ultimo Dragon, WCW. So again, another guy. He did make some appearances in WWE, but to me, his most iconic time period was back when he was in WCW, and he had it was like 10 titles. He had 10 belts that he would carry around, and he had them on his shoulders. He's a luchador that wrestled with Rey Mysterio in that group from WCW, and then he came into WWE early on in the 2000s. But to me, his most iconic time was when he was in WCW and he was walking around with like 10 belts, looking like some superstar. And if you look up Ultimo Dragon WCW and the Google images, one of the first one is him standing wide armed with like every belt, like for a luchador, masked wrestler style individual. So this was this is one that I would love to see, and I would think would be a cool figure. Have like a soft goods robe, have swappable heads with like the mask and stuff. Having multiple belts, like any of the new belts that he may have had. WWE's recently signed contracts with AAA, and I think they purchased AAA actually, so they may have access to some of that library of belts. And if Ultimo held any of those at the time, it would be cool to throw that in as a first in the line belt. Go ahead and give them all those. The likelihood of getting Ultimo Dragon is moderate. I have not heard his name in years, but he did appear in the WWE. And he's appeared in WWE compilations and may have an option if a deal could be struck. So, especially with them seeming to continue to explore the global expansion at WWE, him being such a recognizable name in that space, and then having been such a large part of the WCW luchador, the cruiserweight division, I guess is a better probably term. So it would be interesting to see how they, if they could bring him in here. I think it would be cool for sure. Swappable mask would be even cooler. I've never seen that before. They did do some rubber. They're almost like thumb wrestler characters. They did do some earlier, but it ends up making the head so bulky. I wasn't a fan of it. If they found a way to do it really cool, that would be awesome. Like I said, likelihood's kind of moderate on this one. I don't think there's bad blood with him. So it's not something like that stopping him from being made. But again, if Macho Man could be made, there's nothing saying any of these other guys. Going into number 4, Glacier. So this, for those that may or may not know, say what you want. Glacier was WCW's Sub-Zero character in the mid-90s, tied totally directly looking like Mortal Kombat. He was not a great wrestler. His character was cheesy as all shit. But his look and entrance and the attire and the way they put the strobe lights, and they had the dust coming down like it was ice and snow. He was made to be an action figure. So, they had, I think if they came out with this armor, had some hot swappable heads, like they could do the mask around him, let it be molded, right? One of the nice things with these heads is they do different expressions. You could do the different expressions, or do some masked versions that are stuck on, so it's not too bulky, kind of not modeled, but whatever the term there is, Ed. Sculpted into the face sculpt, as opposed to being a removal artifact and whatnot, would be really cool. Martial arts hands to kind of do some of those cool poses. And then, the likelihood of getting one of these, probably niche, but we've seen some guys that the WWE's released in the elite form. If they wanted to really, stand out and put something cool together, this would be the way to go. Do some kind of smoke FX, something like that would be really cool. Huge fan of Glaciers from a character, and that nostalgia look would be an awesome Ultimate character. And then,
all right, Brick,
the next one,
brother.
Thank you, Brick.
Yeah, thanks for sending that over.
Awesome. The next one is a tie-in directly to Glacier, and he was kind of the Glacier was part of Rock and Sock'em, like Game Tie in with WCW, I believe. I didn't know that. With Glacier, you had to have his opposition. His opposition was Mortis. So this was a character. He had like these multiple skulls kind of piled on his shoulders. He wore green. He was very much the Scorpion version of Mortal Kombat for, Glacier's opposing character. or Reptile. Sorry, not Scorpion. Reptile. Scorpion was the yellow one, right? So I think Reptile was the green one, and this was very much in line with that, and looked kind of his opposition. Chris Kanyon was the wrestler. Chris Kanyon was in the WWE. He did move over during the merger. He did, for a house show or several house shows, do a purple variant version of Mortis that there was talks about bringing back. It never came to fruition on the TV. He had a very negative exit from the WWE, and there was some things that came out because of his lifestyle that may or may not have been picked on and harassed at times. He eventually, wrestled on the indies, did some things, never made his way back to the WWE, and has since passed. The likelihood of getting this figure is very, very low, probably one of the lowest on this list next to Buff Bagwell, maybe even lower, as the fact that he's not here anymore, and kind of the way he exited WWE, and a lot of the talk about what happened when he left, and just some of that, some of the things that occurred that led to his exit. And then, additionally, from what I was reading, is the licensing may be difficult just due to the estate rights since he's no longer here. So this is one that I've seen quite a few customs done of him, and they're amazing. This is a great figure, and one that I will likely eventually have to purchase in the secondary market as a custom just to put on my shelf, because it's an awesome character, one that I remember I thought was so cool growing up. Not a guy in tights, underwear, whatever. Yes, more gothic, Mortal Kombat-esque. But yeah, one of my top 3 would be Mortis for sure. And now my runner-up and my number 2 is none other than Raven from WCW as part of the Ravens flock. Give him a fabric leather jacket, maybe give him a shopping cart or some street weapons, a stop sign, those types of things. Some alternative heads, one where he's got like a screaming look. What about Raven, right? What about me? His flannel flannel jacket, kind of like tied around his waist, the soft goods for that. Give him the ripped, tattered shorts, and give him those props would be really cool. Again, Raven, likelihood, moderate. He has worked for the WWE, in the past, but he doesn't have a Legends deal currently. Maybe he does get one in the future. If he does, instant Ultimate would be amazing. The things they could do with them. I know Bill M over there at Mattel would do a tremendous sculpt of this figure. It would be awesome, and would be one of the first ones I get to throw on the shelf as soon as it became available. Any chat items we want to cover before I go into my number 1?
Yes. My buddy's Customs is here. Hello, fine looking gents in chat. What's up, bud? Every time I say bud, I always think of the way the daughter on the Cosby Show called her friend Bud. And then Jetman's asking you, what do you think about a new Junkyard Dog figure? Have they done an Ultimate's Junkyard Dog?
They haven't done an Ultimate. They did an Elite. I have the Elite in white. He has white pants on. They didn't do a bad job with the Elite. I thought the Elite was fine. I have been cycling out my Elites for Ultimates, so I would definitely get him to put him right in the second shelf right there, as that's kind of my, the second box there is kind of my WCW or, nostalgic, 80s, 90s, really 80s WWE figures. Yeah. So yeah, I would get him.
All right, let's see number 1.
I don't know if it's needed. Number 1, drum roll. The Ayatollah of rock and rolla, Chris freaking Jericho, WWE debut. I didn't go with WCW Chris Jericho, not the, man of 1,000, moves list, counters, whatever it was. Or 1,001 moves is what it was. I think he ended up doing to pick on Dean Malenko. But he joined the WWE back in '99, and he had one of the most iconic debuts, tying to the Y2J character, having the countdown that happened for months on, end. He is, in all honesty, something that probably only over the last couple years I have admitted and actually digested, he, in my opinion, is one of the greatest of all time. He has had up and downs in his career. He's had times where his character seemed very underwhelming and stale. But when you think back to his entire career, all the way back to ECW, before WCW, then jumping to the WWE, leaving, coming, going, that type of thing over the years, multiple revitalizations of his career. The WWE debut one is kind of the defining moment of his career, in my opinion, because it really, set him. He came over before the merger. He carried through his greatness with lining up against The Rock, right, in his opening night. There's so much you could do with him. There's so many different variations you could do of him, but I think you go with the WWE debut one. You give him that really cool sparkling jacket. And then you give him that screaming Y2J face, give him a microphone, Raw as War, and stuff like that. And you got to put his hair up in a ponytail. Absolutely have to do that. And it just might have to do with the fact that my son did just draw this exact debut image, and that's one of the ones that Jericho liked a couple weeks ago on WrestleMania weekend. So he is by far one of my needs. I did pick up an Elite figure recently that will take his space on the shelf, probably like 4 months ago. I got him, that will hold the place on the shelf until I can get an Ultimate at some point. The likelihood of Jericho being, oh, shut the heck up, John. We do not need another Bret Hart figure unless he's got tears coming down his face.
And Brian agrees.
Crying.
They need a good Bret figure.
You got to have a good Bret to have a good figure. You give me a good Bret, and they can make a good figure. There's not a good Bret, you'll never get a good figure. Bada bing, bada boom.
Bret was the shit during the Hart Foundation. What are you talking about?
He was a crybaby. He was the best at crying, then, now, and forever, as they would say. That said, Jericho is with AEW right now, so the likelihood of getting anything anytime soon, probably slim to none. I do believe his contract's up later this year. Maybe he re-signs with WWE. I would hope that he does. I hope he gets one more run there. Maybe not as an active wrestler, because he's definitely on the other side of his ability there, but some sort of on-screen character, and at least a Legends deal, so we can get a Hall of Fame entrance and we can get the Ultimate Edition Jericho that we absolutely positively deserve.
Jericho's one of those guys that could come back as a great manager type character, right? Because he's just so good on the mic and has such a charismatic, he's really good with his characters, right? So he could come back and play like a manager type character for an up and coming wrestler and just, excel at it.
For sure. Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, and his ability to act and play different characters is so far, and the range that he can do he covers so many different things. He had great feuds with Shawn Michaels. He had some great run-ins with Kevin Owens even more recently during his last run. His AEW stuff, I think when he first jumped over there and did some stuff in New Japan was cool. But I don't know much. And even his time in WCW, he did some great stuff with Bill Goldberg and Dean Malenko and Rey Mysterio over there, and did a ton of great stuff in WWE. So his ability to play different roles and his range of character evolution was tremendous. So to me, without shadow of a doubt, the most needed figure as a Mattel Ultimate is Chris Jericho. That's the one I want. That's the one we need. So somebody sign this man. That's it, man. Those are my top 10. And Endless Fables. If I had a recent, and just if we needed if I had a recent photo of my son, my 21-year-old son, that's exactly the way he wears his hair right now. And he's got the curly. The only difference is it's not straight; it's curly, and he looks like a fool. But he's a huge Jericho fan, and I think that's why he's doing it. He's in the middle of the early 2000s, watching the old Monday Night Raws and stuff, and I'm 90% positive, and I'm convinced myself that the reason he's walking around with that haircut is because he's still stuck in the late 90s, 2000s, watching Jericho and all of what they're doing.
It's all right. Bring it back. Bring the grunge back.
But That's it for this week's main topic, man. That covers it. A little dive into the WWE
Great
figures that we
list.
need. So
Love the renders you did.
thanks. Hand drawn.
Yes.
Bullshit. Yeah, no, I thought that was cool. I thought it was cool that I could put those together kind of just as like some visuals for the screens, you know. I thought about going out and trying to find and collecting a bunch of customs and stuff. Then I felt like it would be a hassle to try to get everybody's information and approve it and stuff. Not to discredit them. There are a ton of amazing, talented customizers out there. You know, definitely check those guys out if you're looking to fill a gap on your shelf before WWE hopefully eventually owns every wrestling promotion in the industry and is able to produce every one of these figures that's on my top 10. And there was a couple other ones that I would have considered on there for sure. But kind of throwing it out to those in the chat. I know not everyone's a wrestling fan. Unfortunately for you guys, don't get to enjoy that the same way I do. Again, that's a you problem, not me. But if you are a fan or have been a fan in the past, is there an ultimate WWE figure that you wish you could get today? Which is your top figure that you want? Hey, Skunkworks.
So, question: when are you and the Black Knight going to do your next show? It's been a long time.
It has. Obviously, there's been a lot going on in my world, and I'm sure there's a lot going on in his. I do got to message him and see when a good time to kick that back up is. Every time there's a pay-per-view or premium live event, as they call them now, I often think, oh man, right now would be the great time to just jump right in and start plugging away at those, right? And give those a shot. But and especially after a WrestleMania, you know, and talking about what we think is going to happen next, I definitely want to get around to, you know, continuing that content because I do enjoy talking wrestling for sure.
I know you do.
If I wasn't watching it with my sons on Monday nights, I'd take over Monday nights from our friend over there, and I'd run some watch-alongs. But I watch it with my sons, and I don't know that, you know, anybody will be able to handle me telling them to be quiet or, you know, them telling me to be quiet, trying to hear things and, you know, stop predicting things and that type of stuff. Or my youngest son putting on one of his luchador masks and running downstairs and trying to scare the crap out of me and my oldest as he jumps around a corner with one of his luchador masks on. King Kong Brody? Oh, wait. King Kong Brody? King Kong Bundy or King Kong Brody? I've never heard of King Kong Brody.
Me neither. I know King Kong Bundy. He was awesome. Brody D. Ryder.
Oh, he's talking about Bruiser Brody. Okay, so I know him as Bruiser Brody. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Bruiser Brody would be a cool one. I've seen some customized ones of Bruiser for sure. He's definitely he's a well desired figure, but I don't think that we'd ever see one of those. I think there was a lot of issues with his
Ultimates
passing.
of what the hell is the guy's name? He was in the WWE, but he always had like the bleach blonde curly hair, and he was kind of like, he was muscular, but he wasn't really big. What the hell was his name?
What year time frame?
Like in the last probably 10 years. He always had like silver shorts and was like, I think he took on Jericho a couple times. The hell was his name?
Bleach blonde hair.
Yeah.
Curly. Are you talking about Dolph Ziggler?
Yeah, Ziggler. That's his name.
Oh, he's one of my favorites, but they don't have an ultimate of him. He left right around the COVID time, I believe.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, but he's with TNA, and there's that crossover stuff. He goes by the name Nick Namath now, which I think is his actual name. He was an amazing Ohio wrestler, I think. Very talented professional, not professional, but amateur wrestler, college and everything. Very talented individual.
Yeah, I always liked watching him. He was always fun to watch.
Yeah, he was good. He was a newer generation's version of Shawn Michaels without the microphone skills.
Yeah. Bruiser Brody also went by King Kong Bundy in AWA. I didn't know that.
I didn't know that. Man, I did not know that.
Jeff saying he'd like a Blue Demon and a Santos set.
So Blue Demon.
Bruiser Brody also went by King Long. I didn't know any of this. Look at this guy, DJ 5000. Where you been, buddy? It's been a long time since we've seen you in here.
Yeah.
Love wrestling talk. I'd love an ultimate of Dustin Rhodes.
Dustin Rhodes.
But he's
You know, I
locked
could
in
see that
AEW.
happening in time potentially. I could see that happening. I mean, is it Dustin Rhodes or Gold Dust? That's what I'd be curious on. I mean, I feel like it's got to be a Gold Dust, and they could do some really cool ones. The one that I think would be cool is if they did the really raunchy, formerly known as Gold Dust figure back when he was doing his like Marilyn Manson multicolored, really leather bondage uniform, which would be cool. But yeah, that's not going to happen.
Well, what's
Hey,
up,
Payne?
Payne? It's past your bedtime, brother. Thanks for stopping in. And Jetman saying he always liked Hacksaw Jim Duggan.
Yep.
Santo.
Hacksaw Jim Duggan's just from the before we go there, it's Hacksaw Jim Duggan, just about 30 minutes north of me, hometown, Glens Falls, New York.
Yep.
So
Santo and Blue Demon with a werewolf and vampire.
okay.
Oh, Nomad meant King Kong Brody, not Bundy. Yeah. Okay.
Okay. Yeah.
Jeff saying 80s wrestling is his jam. Yeah, it was King Kong Brody and not Bundy. Okay.
Absolutely. Cool.
So what are we
Good
covering
deal.
next week, man?
What are we covering next week?
Yeah.
Let me see if I've got that.
Manhose is saying classy Freddie Blassie. He was a manager.
So they did do those for the Jacks when Jacks had all of the legends and whatever it was back then. They would do theirs, but Mattel has not done that. So for next week, our topic is therapeutic toys: how play helps mental health. On the 6th of May at 9:05. That'll be the topic. I think Ed's going to try to help me through some things
Man,
based
I
on
don't
the
know.
industry. This is what I'm here.
That look on my face says this dude is unhelpable. Jeff saying
Now,
he's
GI,
a
I'm from.
Grinch guy.
So GI Jetman.
Jetman lives in Rochester or just around Rochester.
Yeah, so I'm from the Saratoga area, but what's the guy's name? Hacksaw Jim Duggan. That's who you said, right?
Yep.
Yeah, Hacksaw Jim Duggan is originally from Glens Falls, New York. I think he's down. He lives in a different area, but he was originally from Glens Falls, New York, which is about 30 minutes north of me.
Yep.
Yeah, so next week we'll go ahead and talk therapeutic toys. Dive a little deep into that topic. How kind of reliving and playing with your toys, and how that can help with some mental stress, mental health, and whatnot. So we'll be talking about that in our first show in May.
Yes.
Ed, before we wrap up here, what do you got going on this week, man?
Oh, you know me, man. I got lots of stuff going on. I'll be tomorrow. Wednesday is the only night that I actually don't have a show that I have to do on Wednesday nights. But I usually end up at Kenzo's show. I end up bouncing into Kenzo's show, and I am a moderator over there. But then I'll be modding for Punk on Thursday with a friend, and then Radnom's Craft and Chill on Friday night, like usual.
Yep.
I'll be in the clubhouse all night Saturday, Sunday with the Hella Dope Boys, Monday back with Punk, and then Tuesday back here with you, brother.
Awesome. Good deal.
I will. DJ 5000 says his man cave is full of toys. It's a safe place. Yes, that's exactly what we're going to talk about. Tune in next week, brother, because that's exactly what we're going to be talking about.
For sure. Awesome. And for myself, I will be in the dungeon most days when I'm free. Continuing to work on things, getting some orders out for Hexastack next week. I'm actually recording a commercial video, wrapping that up, getting that edited, so you guys will see that dropping here on the YouTube channel here soon. See it on Instagram. I see a lot more promotion coming later this week for Hexastack, as I'm kind of moving out of that soft launch phase into the full launch. That said, I'm gonna throw this out there for anyone that also has a stream. If you're looking for any guests in the upcoming months, please do reach out to me. You can reach out to me at the Mr. Wonderful on Instagram, or the Hexastack on Instagram, or ToyLeet on Instagram. Just ping in one of those things and let me know if you want me to come on. I'd be glad to come on and talk about Hexastack and put that product in front of other customers and help them out with getting that. Help them kind of curate their displays. I've got a lot of really cool things coming for Hexastack. One of the things that I'm going to drop it here for those that have stuck around to the end.
Drop it like it's hot.
In coming months, what we will be doing, I'm not going to do it this month or next month, but sometime after June, what I plan to do is the third, or I think we said the third Tuesday of every month, Hexastack will be doing a giveaway to anyone who has purchased from Hexastack. Your order number is going to get dropped into a random pull, and then that number is going to stay in that random pull until that number gets drawn. And what we'll do is, continue to give away some stuff from Hexastack. It could be a new product release that we'll be revealing. Likely will be when that is if I have an upcoming product that's going to go into the stands or around the stands or tie into the stands, those will be released. And you'll get an opportunity to be the first ones to receive those before they go on sale. If you happen to be that individual drawn, and it won't cost you anything if you're in the continental US to mail that out to you. We'll take care of that here. The only requirement is that you do have to be in the stream to win it at that time. If you draw your number, your order number, if we draw that and you're not in the stream that week, that's okay. We'll throw it back in the bucket for the next time, but we'll go ahead and we'll draw another number, for somebody who ordered, and hopefully we'll be able to get some winners out there and continue.
We'll remind you when it gets
but that'll
closer,
definitely
when we start that, to let you know what stream to
Yep.
be in, so you're not just wondering. And I don't know.
Well,
if you saw
be in
this.
every stream.
Yep, be in every stream. But if you can't be it there, for whatever reason, we'll make sure that you know.
Exactly.
Tiffany says she ordered some, so that's good.
Awesome. Good
And
deal. Let me go check.
Brian's offering to have you on his show. I have one follower.
Awesome.
Not sure it will do much, but hey, promotion's promotion, man.
Oh, yeah. Thank you. Oh, I see the Vaz one. We'll be taking care of that. Those Vaz, if you didn't hear earlier on, yeah, I'm looking at the site here. All the remaining orders are going to be going out tomorrow, so I'll get those taken care of, and you'll get your shipping, everything. That'll be the week. Tomorrow is a week, so that's a 7-day turnaround. Committed to, like I said earlier on in the show, there was a couple things I was adjusting based on the some of the warping on a few of the runs I was making. So just wrapping up those tweaks and getting those out tomorrow to folks. So you guys should be good. Thank you, Vaz. I appreciate your support. And just as a piggyback, if you get those, please do, when you receive them and you get them on your displays, if you do an opening box or, any photos or whatever, go ahead and, post them, tag me, tag the Hexastack. I want to share that out and let others see what you guys are doing with your stands. Always, go ahead and grab a before and after too, so we can make sure we show folks how it's improving. And Punk, you'll get yours.
Allison's offering to have you on her show. You can do some coloring and Hexastack promotion.
Awesome.
And I'd be honored to come back and color with you, Allison.
Absolutely. That'd be great.
And Vaz saying, of course, they'll show it off. Excellent.
Thank you so much.
That's all I got, brother.
So that's
share,
it for
subscribe.
me right now.
If you haven't subscribed, all yours subscribe, but like and share.
Yeah. Awesome. Trying to find the mouse on my screen so I can go ahead and throw it over there. But folks, what we say, if you're not miserable, then you're happy. But if you're only happy, you're not staying wonderful. So do your best to stay wonderful this week, folks, and we'll see you next week.
Hanging out now, but remember this. Let your toys breathe, do this. Toys on the desk, it's the new habitat. ToyLeet Takeover, we're loving that. It's a stack high in the air where it's at. Everywhere's a playground for Mr. Wonderful. In the office, living room, let them breathe. Action fakes hit the trail through the mud and under sail. It's the ToyLeet life beyond the shelf we prepare. Figures and sets, your perfect place. With Hexastack, we own the space. From battle seeds to epic quests, our collection's always at its best. Hexastack high in the air where it's at. Everywhere's a playground for Mr. Wonderful. In the office, living room, let them breathe. Action fix it, the trail through the mud and under sail. It's a ToyLeet life beyond the shelf we prepare. So like, subscribe, and join our crew. Check us on Instagram, we've got news for you. Back the stack, it's when dreams come true. ToyLeet Takeover, we're here for you. Thanks for tuning in, feel the vibe. Toys in our world come alive. Next week, same time, don't miss the ride.
for the funds, whoa.